We hit a couple last week, right? Couple. We called a couple.
Uh, yeah, I can't remember, but I did okay last weekend, so I'm sure.
Yeah, this card looks pretty good though. I think there's some good races here. I like that they put the Pick Turf 3 as a part of the late Pick 5. I like that. I don't like when the first turf of the Pick 3 is like race 4.
Yeah, no, definitely, I definitely agree with that.
Just get all the good ones. Just put them together. That's my favorite.
It's been kind of like chalky, annoyingly, but like at least in first, like I gotta play more tries and stuff. I've hit some decent prices underneath, but
Are you good to go?
yeah, I'm good. Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Um,
Race. Sorry.
Race 7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Race 7, 5.5 furlongs. $140,000 allowance. I'm just gonna hit like one. I kind of just got like one horse each race I'm gonna hit, and then maybe a couple I'll mention in a couple races. I liked 7 Pipsy in this one. Gets Joe Rosario on the mount. Has roller once before. It's 6.5 at Kentucky Downs. First time with the Lasix. 3 of 7 live, 5 of 7 in the money life. Joel is 18% with the EP types. And I don't know how much speed there's going to be in this race. I mean, it's a 5.5 furlong sprint. I don't know. They seem to go pretty fast at Keeneland, but I don't see a lot of closers winning at Keeneland that often. I like Pipsy kind of a middle of the pack. There's going to be a couple speedsters inside of her that are probably going to go, maybe one or two outside of her, but she should be able to get a pretty good tracking trip, I think, in like that second group. So that was my favorite horse in this one. Who you have?
Yeah, this race was really difficult for me. Um, I think you're right on Pipsy, where probably the um, most likely winner. But I don't know. I think she'll be a short price. Rosario off the layoff. I don't know. I don't really like her. Um, and I do think it is it's kind of a weird turf sprint where I don't know how much speed there is too. Um, so I don't know. I feel like this race could get really weird. I don't really have too much of a strong opinion. To be honest, the two horses I liked. We'll start with the 3 Cloudwalker. Just returned off the layoff last time. Ran on synthetic, but first time it's done that at Turfway. I think they're just getting a race under her to then come to Keeneland. So she's 2 for 3 at Keeneland. Nice inside post. Um, Second start as a 4-year-old, so I think she could run a big race. And then um, Be My Sunshine, the Safi horse. Safi's have been kind of running off the screen here too. This one made a middle move for the wide trip. It's now cutting back in distance. 5 to 1, I wouldn't take at all, but I think this one might float up a little bit, but we'll see. But I don't know. Yeah, I just have to do deeper dive in this race because I think there might be some really big long shots that I like, but I don't know.
Yeah, I like your idea of it getting weird. I felt that a little bit here. I definitely felt it in a couple of the other races. I was looking at the 10 Be My Sunshine too. Yeah, I can't take it at 5 to 1, but uh, Safi Joseph cutting back to a sprint's a pretty good bet. A little plus ROI. But yeah, depends on the price. I can't do it 5 to 1 when there is a lot of good sprinters in this race. Yeah, I think you can make a
Yeah,
interesting argument for a couple different ones.
yeah. I was surprised to see that morning line, but um, it's maybe just the Safi factors
They're
is
sharp. They're
enough.
sharp in Keeneland.
Is enough. Well, yeah. The cause the CAWs hammer the prices pretty good. Um, Yeah, one horse I will mention, who is the 13, where just missed, got nailed by Cloudwalker last year at Keeneland, setting a fast pace, and just getting nailed. So this one's changing to the Maker Barn. Showed speed on the synthetic last time, but now switches back to turf. Um, and yeah, without a ton of other, I just don't think there's anybody that there's a lot of horses that want to be forwardly placed, obviously, but I don't think there's any that are really that fast. So if Moonlit Lady draws in, that one might be a interesting one that I might use. So.
Okay. Yeah, I agree what you're saying with a lot of forward play sources, but none of them are just flying off the screen. So it'll be a fun race. I love the little sprints at Keeneland usually. We can go on to the 8 mile and the number 8 race, mile and 1/8, optional claimer 80,000, no winners 2x. Do you mind starting us off in this one? Dirt race, by the way.
Yeah, dirt race. I mean, the Keeneland dirt, especially in dirt routes, it's pretty much all been inside speed. So this race is kind of tough. I do think, again, the favorite looks pretty tough in here. What was I gonna say? Yeah, what number is that? The 5, just a touch. I mean, setting a slow pace last time at Fairgrounds, but it looks like he's really the only one that wants the lead. So I don't know. I just don't think that they'll pass him in the stretch. So not my most favorite betting race, but I just don't see any other horse that can really go with him early. So the one horse I do like as a big price is the one Moonlight, off the turf last time. Romped, ran a nice strong late pace figures, huge step up in class, but the inside's been good, like I said too. So just can maybe just ride the rail and maybe pick up third at a big price. But I don't know. I don't have anything creative in here. I think just a touch. Giroux puts him on the lead, and he just kind of walks around the track gate to wire.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. That's a good point about the late pace figure. Kind of out of nowhere, stepping up in class in that race, too. But yeah, there wasn't much pace at all in this race, and then Stretch Ride likes to either set the pace or if it's a slow pace and he's just sitting off one of these other horses that hasn't consistently won past a mile, which is a lot of these horses, then it's hard to go against him. I thought it was like either he gets the easy setup, or if there is a speed duel, the 9 Skinner is the late speed of the race. So it was hard to get away from some chalk in this race, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely like Skinner as a horse, but um, yeah, I just don't really like the scenario for him.
Yeah, we can move on. I don't have anything crazy in that one. Race 9, mile and a half turf, the Elkhorn G2. I'll start us off. Pretty good betting race for a mile and a half turf race. I think you can fade the chalk here, limited liability. Um, nothing against the horse, but he's raced some of these other horses in this race close, and then I don't know if these prices will hold, but if any of them hold, besides the favorite, it's a pretty good price. I went with 12 Balkanoff. Gets Florent Giroux here, maybe a little step up in jockey. Philip D'Amato, trainer. He hasn't ran any apparently at Keeneland yet this meet. But just a lot better late speed than most of these horses. A lot of these horses just seem to kind of run the same race every time they stretch out to a mile and a half. Sonata, Grand Sonata, Utah Beach, Verstappen. I like those horses. Those are some good prices on them too if you like them. But I just felt like Balkanoff is a horse that showed he can close consistently. Comes off the layoff a little bit, but is I think only the one of the only greatest stakes actual winners running in this race. There's a couple others maybe, but yeah, there's a couple others. But there's a couple that they've raced a lot of great stakes and haven't won. So yeah, coming from the outside, closing, stalking, I think it's a good setup for him. What did you have?
I like the 9, Missed the Cut. Um, Sherry DeVoe horse, who actually hasn't been winning much at Keeneland. A lot of seconds and thirds so far. Gets a new rider, Johnny V. But I liked this horse last time, and it was like stiffed or something went wrong. Pretty much just pulled him up early. It was like a merry-go-round, slow pace, and came running way too late. Galloped out in front. Um, so that was its first start off the layoff. It probably needed the race. That was the only concern I had last time, and I think it was definitely the best horse out of that race. And I just think, yeah, I think this is a pretty evenly matched group without any standouts. But I think that one, they might have just tried to set him up to run in this race at Keeneland. Um, so I think I like that horse quite a bit, and that'll be probably the key to my day. Is the 9 on Saturday at Keeneland.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, early speed in a mile and a half race that there's not a lot of speed in the race in general.
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, the 11 who stole that fairgrounds race at 86, but I mean that horse can just, if that horse goes, and this one just kind of waits patiently in second. Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's still the 9 post, so definitely gotta get forwardly placed enough, maybe, because if you get hung 3 wide, it is going to be difficult in the turf race. So, and I mean, limited liability has speed too. So, but other than that, I think this one can still, if you're too wide and sitting right behind the leaders, that's fine.
Yeah, I could see limited liability getting pushed by I'd rather be blessed and then neither hanging on.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, we can go into the 10 mile and 3/16 back to the dirt, the Ben Ali, grade 3. You're our dirt opener, I guess, if you don't mind hitting this one too.
Yeah, I thought this was a pretty weak race, to be honest. Don't really trust any of the favorites at a short price. I just kind of like a little bit a decent price is the 3 Tennessee Lamb. Just took a while to break his maiden, but kind of rounded in form off a nice win last time, and just runs numbers that I think kind of fit with this group and is improving. So yeah, I didn't really have anything too creative. Other than I don't really like the favorites, both drawn to the outside. Definitely not where you want to be, especially going into the first turn. If you get hung wide at Keeneland, it's really difficult to win on the routing. So, yeah, I don't have much.
Okay. Yeah, I did like Uno Mas Bourbon a little bit. I like 2 horses mainly in this race. I liked Uno Mas. Just kind of has been more consistent speed figures, improving a little bit since the end of last year. The stretch out from the last race should suit him, and I think it was a little bit of a prep race off a layoff, maybe setting up for this race probably. But gets Brian Hernandez here. He's 1 of 3, 2 of 3 in the money with the trainer in the last 60. Ian Wilkes 22% at the meet so far. I did think it was one of the best closers amongst the group. I liked your idea with Tennessee Lamb. I don't know what to make of that horse, honestly. I like him. I like the early speed. But the second horse I liked a little bit more was actually the 2 Prince of Power. Comes off a 7 furlong G3 sprint at Keeneland. Coming back out to a mile and 3/16 here. Has ran a mile and a quarter on the all-weather and looked good. His looked good speed figure-wise off the late 6 the last few races. So I like the fact that they put him in the 7 furlong race, just maybe really reinforce the early speed that this horse has shown before. And if he can get a decent position, I don't know how much Tennessee Lamb's going to push him, pace wise. Duke of Love is going to want to sit right off the pace a little bit. So I think he's got a shot just stealing it on the front at 15-1. So gets a Gerardo Corrales here too, who I think is a good jockey. I don't know how consistent he is on the dirt, but I like the swap from San Dior at least. So yeah, I like those two. Those were my favorites.
Yeah, I'll definitely use that. That's how I'll probably play the race. Is
The two
use
speedsters.
use the 2 speeds, chuck everybody else out, because I think it's just that type of race where their closers just aren't special, and see if the track is. I mean, it's pretty. It's kind of annoying how biased the dirt's been, especially. It's unless it's like a complete meltdown. If you're not within a couple lengths of the lead, you got pretty much no shot. So
Yeah, I like playing it that way. I mean, you think a mile and 3/16, you're gonna have time for the closers to make up ground, but like you said, even at Keeneland, even at a mile and 3/16, it just seems like you got to get out forward place. Like, there's like no way around there right now.
yeah.
We'll close her up, race 11, mile and a 16th. This closes the pick 5 and the turf pick 3. Allowance 120, the winners 1x. I got one horse I really like in this race. Not a huge price. The 7 Rothschild gets Johnny V here, James Toner. I like his horses on turf. This is the second race with Toner. He's got good early speed, good speed figures comparatively. Second time Lasix, second time with the trainer. So the trainer obviously thought that maybe the horse with Lasix would perform better. It was kind of a drop in class for him last race, a little bit off a layoff, and then I feel like maybe that was just a prep race. It was a mile at Gulfstream Park, which, those are typically fast fraction races, maybe just trying, again, reinforcing some of the early speed with the horse. And I think he can get a nice tracking trip, which is exactly what this horse wants. He was even a little wide and a little further back than in a lot of his races last race, and he still finished pretty hard. I didn't see a whole lot of talent in this race. There's a couple interesting horses, but that was one of the stronger horses, I thought. Who you got here?
Yeah, I like Rothschild definitely. I like that horse last year. I had some couple trips and ran pretty well. Yeah. The only problem is I just he'll be a short price, and I don't really think he lays over this field by any means. I kind of agree. I just don't think that there's a ton of quality. There's no one really to be scared of in this race. I think the 10 is probably another logical one. Ran a nice strong late pace figure behind a slow pace last time. Philip Antonacci, whatever that trainer is, his run has been firing. But I like the 9. Ascari is kind of a price in here. Didn't ran in 2023, won his debut on the turf closing, ran another good closing race on the turf. They shipped it to Saratoga, ran good. So then something went wrong, was off for 2 years, came back Turfway, ran a bad race, then dominated, and then was favored last time going a mile and a half, and just kind of didn't really get the distance. So shortening a distance, switching back to turf for the first time since it was a 3-year-old. It's ran some pretty decent figures on synthetic this winter, so I just think that one's live, and 9 post is kind of a concern, but at the price, I think it's worth a shot. So that's the horse I like in the last race.
Yeah, that's a lot of good points actually about that horse. I like the fact that yeah, it looked like it was improving, and then came back and showed that it was doing better, or something obviously went wrong, and it was able to come back and perform at that level or a little better even. Yeah, stepping up in class here, but the mile and a half distance was maybe just too much, especially on the all weather. I mean, those are some good all weather horses that it ran against last race, and it still did a pretty good speed figure. So good, yeah. I actually like that horse. We'll have to do another double check on it.
Yeah, and I love the now it's finally getting back to turf too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting.
Cause yeah, Sophie Doyle's been. She can hit on some long shots too. So again, the
Yeah, she's
nine
good for a long
post.
shot every now and then, and she never takes money.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think 10-1. I have to include that horse now after the case you made with Rothschild. I don't feel there's a big skill gap between any of these horses, so 10-1. At least on any exotics, I think I gotta throw that horse in now. So thanks for that. All right, that'll be turf pick 3, pick 5. Couple nice picks by each of us in each race. Any news on your front? Anything you want to plug before we go?
No, not really. Just just gonna try and finish Keeneland strong. Hit something good the next couple days. Weather's been good, thankfully, after the shitty first weekend. So
Yeah. All right, that'll do it then. Thanks for hopping on, man.
yeah, anytime was good.